And when David and his men had come into Ziklag in the third day, they learned that the men of Amalek had made assault on the south part of Judah in Ziklag, and had smitten Ziklag and burnt it by fire. And they led away the women as prisoners from thence, from the least unto the most. And they had not slain any, but they led them forth with them, and went in their way. Therefore when David and his men had come to the city, and had found it burnt with fire, and that their wives and their sons and daughters were led away as prisoners, then David and the people that was with him raised up their voices and wailed, till the tears failed in them. And also 2 wives of David were led away as prisoners, Ahinoam of Jezreel, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal of Carmel. And David was full sorry. Certainly all the people would have stoned David, for the soul of each man was bitter on their sons and daughters. For thus David was comforted in his Lord God, and he said to Abiathar the priest, the son of Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech, bring thou ephod to me. And Abiathar brought the ephod to David. And David counseled with the Lord and said, shall I pursue these thieves? Either no. And shall I take them? And the Lord said to him, pursue thou, for without doubt thou shalt take them, and thou shalt take away from them their prey. Therefore David went forth, and 600 men that were with him, and they came unto the strand of Bezor, and there the weary men of the host of David abode behind. For thus David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abided behind, that were weary and might not pass the strand of Bezor. And they found a young man of Egypt in the field, and they brought him to David, and they gave him bread that he should eat, and water to drink. But also they gave him a gobbet of a bundle of dried figs, and 2 clusters of dried grapes. And when he had eaten those, his spirit turned again to him, and he was comforted. For he had not eaten bread, neither had drunk water in 3 days and 3 nights. Then David said to him, whose man art thou? Either from whence, and whither goest thou? And he said, I am a child of Egypt, the servant of a man of Amalek. But my Lord forsook me, for I began to be sick the 3rd day ago. For we brake out at the south coast of Cherethites, and against Judah, and at the south of Caleb, and we burnt Ziklag with fire. And David said to him, mayest thou lead me to this company? Which said, swear thou to me by God, that thou shalt not slay me, and that thou shalt not betake me into the hands of my Lord, and I shall lead thee to this company. And David swore to him. When the child had led him thither, lo, they sat at meat upon the face of all the earth, eating and drinking, and as Halloween, a feast day, for all the prey and spoils which they had taken of the land of Philistines and of the land of Judah. And David smote them from eventide unto the eventide of the t'other day, and not any of them escaped, no, but 400 young men that went upon camels and fled. For thus David delivered all things which the men of Amalek took, and he delivered his 2 wives. Neither any of them failed, from little to great, as well of sons as of daughters, and of spoils, and whatever things they had ravished. David led again all things, and he took all the flocks and great beasts, and drove them before his face. And they said, this is the prey of David. For thus David came to the 200 men that were weary, and abided behind, and might not follow David. And he commanded them to sit at the strand of Bezor that was with him. For thus David nigh to the people, and he greeted it peaceably. And one man, the worst and unjust of the men that were with David, answered and said, for they came not with us, we shall not give to them anything of the prey that we have ravished, but suffice it to each man his wife and his children. When they have taken them, go they away. And David said, my brethren, ye shall not do so, as ye speak of these things which the Lord hath given to us. And he hath kept us, and gave the thieves that break out against us into our hands. Neither any shall hear us strive on this word, for even part shall be of him that goeth down to battle, and of him that dwelleth at the fardels. And in like manner they shall part the prey. And this was made a constitution and a doom from the day and afterward, and as a law in Israel till into this day. And David came into Ziklag, and he sent gifts of the prey to the elder men of Judah, his neighbors, and said, Take ye blessing of the prey of enemies of the Lord, to them that were in Bethel, and that were in Ramoth at the south, and that were in Jatir, and that were in Eror, and that were in Siphmoth, and that were in Eshtemoa, and that were in Rachel, and that were in the cities of Jeremiel, and that were in the cities of Kenites, and that were in Hormah, and that were in Korashan, and that were in Athach, and that were in Hebron, and to the other men that were in these places, which David dwelled in his men.